Okay. I want to talk about something real quickly, and this is about being involved with people who are deep into their egos, like deep into their ego. Barely make any connection with the true self or source. Let me just say, or the source, or whatever you want to call God, or whatever you want to say. Barely make a connection. And they're deep into their ego, whether it's a friend, a mate, or whoever it is. It's hard to be, let me just say, it's hard to just deal with people like that, period. When you are trying to work on your ego, right? When you do something wrong, you try to make a point of admitting that you're doing something wrong, or admit that you make a mistake. It's still a society, and I know perception is reality, okay? So I'm not going to give a credit to this particular society as if it's like it can't be changed, because perception is reality, right? So, but I want to talk about in the type of society that most of us perceive. It's weak to admit that you made a mistake. It's weak to admit that you were wrong. It's weak. Really doing anything that gets the ego out the way is weak. Okay, because it's still the ego-driven society has been around a long time, and it's just going to take a long time to really. I'm not going to say it's going to take a long time to move from it. It takes a lot of people are still in their lower mind, and as long as you stay in a lower mind yourself, you're going to continue to see people who are deep in their egos. But I want to talk about. And the lower mind is not an insult in saying that, it is lower consciousness, but it's not an insult. It's really, it's really dealing with consciousness, lower consciousness, higher consciousness, lower mind, higher mind. It's something that really exists. So it's not to put anybody down. In an ego-driven world, in the type of world that we have lived in with capitalism, with all these stuff going, all this division, all this racism, all this stuff with calling people black, calling people white, separating each other by cultures, that's all a part of a lower mind. That's division. That's not unity consciousness. So when you're under a consciousness, a mind, or a society where it's all divided, everybody feel like they different, okay? That's not unity consciousness, so that's lower consciousness. So so it's actually a thing. It's real, And most people, regardless of how intellectual, how smart they are, I don't care if they're Asian, white, Caucasian, whatever they are, they're most likely they are still of a lower mind, because they do not have unity consciousness. I don't care how intelligent or feminine or whatever they are, But here's what I want to say. About if you are a person that is truly working on yourself and working on getting into a higher state of being, okay, your divine beingness, getting into a higher state of being, right? You cannot, I'm just going to say, and I'm saying this to myself too. So a lot of times when I say you, I'm also talking about myself. You just literally cannot be around people who are still stuck in their ego, who are just full of ego. You cannot. It's not going to work out. That's why I don't like working in buildings 8 hours a day. I don't care what kind of job it is. I don't like working around people 8 hours a day. I do not like it. I do not like working in a building, in a facility with people 8 hours a day, every day. I do not like it, because people come with too much baggage. People come with too much baggage. And I feel like I'm a little too spiritually sensitive to deal with folks. Okay? People have come with garbage or come with baggage that they don't want to deal with. Let's just say a lot of people do not want to deal with their baggage, and so they put their baggage off on you. But what I was saying, like, say, for example, like if you friends or you working around somebody or just whatever it is, a person who's full of their ego, and they say something to you and you let them know that they're incorrect, but you say it in a way that is not distasteful, right? You say it in a tactful type of way. But you tell them something, like they might approach you with something. Like say if it's a supervisor, let's just say if it's a supervisor, whatever it is. And they come to you in a way to tell you something or tell you to do something or whatever it is, and you let them know in a tactful way that whatever they're trying to say was done, and they might tell you something that's might not be right because they could be wrong about something, and you kind of correct them in a tactful way, not in a way to, not in a way to make yourself superior to them, but just in a tactful way to like basically say, no, that's a mistake, right? Some of these people are so full of ego that they try to find a way to make their mistake right. They try to find a way to make their mistake right. And that is literally an issue that most of us have had. And some of us are trying to break away from that because it's nothing wrong with saying that you were wrong about something. Okay? But that's what I'm talking about. And that still goes around a lot where people they have a hard time with the simplest things. Even with the simplest things, they have a hard time saying that they made a mistake. They have to find some kind of way to make their mistake right. I'm trying to find a way to, okay, I'm not going to call these people name out. I'm not going to call this person name out, but this is an example that I saw. Like, there's a lady on YouTube that no longer wants to be addressed by a certain type of title any longer because she says it means something that she didn't realize it meant at the time. And she happened to speak to somebody, and we heard them speaking over YouTube, and the person was calling them by their old title. It was calling them by this old title, this old name that the YouTuber doesn't want to be called any longer. And the YouTuber said, call me, don't call me this. Call me by my name or whatever. Don't call me this. But do you know that other person is so full of their ego? They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be corrected. Then they said, but this means, but yeah, it's a good thing. But, just kind of argue with every reason because she did not want to be corrected. It's almost like she didn't want to be checked, but she wasn't being checked, though. This person asked her to just call her, don't call her by the name, but she said it in a very nice way. She didn't say it in a nasty way. I've had people ask me, I forgot what it's a like little pet name. I was in Cleveland, Ohio. And it's a pet name that I would like to call people. I was like working at Cleveland Clinic for a little bit. It was a little pet name that I like to call people, but I said it to this one lady, and I forgot what I call her. But it's a cute little pet name that I call everybody. She asked me to call her that, and I said, okay, everybody, you can't impose your will on other people. I don't have a problem with the ego in that type of way. I don't have a problem with the ego in that type of way, and some people do. But that is a serious issue. Like it's hard to be around people that don't want to be corrected. You can't really deal with folks like that. It's hard to exist with people like that, even in a marriage or whatever it is. You cannot exist with people that just cannot be corrected. You can't tell them anything. I mean, they don't even want to make mistakes. You can't even tell them that they made a mistake because they feel like they're losing some kind of power by saying they made a mistake. And that makes it hard on you. Because if you're around a person that never wants to say they're wrong, that never can admit they make a mistake, even though they know that they made a mistake, they never want to admit, like they feel like they breaking down. Like they feel like that's strength to sit there with all that pride and act like you ain't did nothing wrong when you know the truth. Okay, you can't lie to yourself. And they feel like that's strength. And it's difficult to be around a person like that constantly that can never admit to their wrong or their mistakes. Because that leaves the other person to continue to take on their baggage. If I'm dealing with a person and they can never admit to their mistakes, that's leaving me to carry your load because you can never say that you're wrong. You can never say that you make a mistake. And that leaves me to carry your load because you never want to deal with yourself. You never want to deal with yourself, and it's leaving other people to carry all of your baggage. And so that's what I'm saying, that if you're somebody who's working on yourself, you cannot deal with people who can never admit that they did anything wrong. You just cannot deal with people like that. It's really unfair to you. It's unfair to the level of work that you have put in for yourself. It's unfair to then go around and be around people who can't really see the value in you, okay? Can't see the value in themselves. And then when they make mistakes or do anything wrong and you try to bring it up or just try to correct them, they can't even see it. They too prideful to even admit they make a mistake. But then they come back trying to, and try to one-up you. Like they have to one-up you, right? And it's not a good time to deal with people like that right now. It's not a good time to deal with people who are petty, who want to be petty, who want to be childish and nitpick and do all that stuff. It's not a good time to be around that. Another thing I want to say, and I'm going to go in a little bit. Also, this struggle narrative that have existed that I'm going to call the black community, okay? This struggle narrative that have existed in the black community, let go of those narratives. You don't want to hold on to anything that keeps you in a lower vibration. And those struggle narratives keep you in a lower vibration. See, the thing with black people, I'm just going to say black at this point, right? The thing with black people is that they want to hold on to whatever they think history is. A lot of stuff they feel like happened didn't really happen. A lot of people were lied to. A lot of what we believe to be real is an edit. Okay, it's an edit in a program. And a lot of that we believe it to be real, right? And you just can't hold on to struggle narratives. I was listening to one lady talk about somebody in office. It's a black lady that's in office. I think she's Superior Court or something, whatever. And talking about, I guess because of how she might have grown up, that she doesn't identify with the black struggle. Well, I don't want to identify with the black struggle either, because I got my own struggles. See, that lady has her own struggles. I have my own struggles. I don't need to identify with other struggles that don't personally affect me, because here's the problem. When I'm identifying with those struggles, nobody's helping to identify with my struggles. I have to deal with my struggles all by myself. And then you got to turn around and identify with the black struggle. And most of that stuff doesn't personally even bother you. Most people that want to keep fussing about the black struggle, a lot of times that stuff don't even, a lot of times people who want to keep arguing about that haven't even experienced that. They want to talk about what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and whoever went through and Frederick Douglass. But personally, a lot of people did not experience those type of things. Not in this day and time. But you keep wanting to identify with that. Okay? Well, I don't want to hold on to something like that, because I have other things that already took place in my life. I already have things I have to deal with. It's already a lot of trauma just on your own lifetime period that needs to be healed, right? Or removed or whatever. There's already a lot of trauma that you got to deal with just in your life. So why are you holding on? And let me tell you, that is what's holding, that holds you into a low vibration. That keeps you in a density, and that keeps you dense, right? In a low, dense kind of world. So why hold on to additional struggles that's going to continue to keep you in a lower vibration? Why would you hold on to that? Okay, now if people come together and decide to come up with a solution and they are actively doing something about it, coming together, then that would raise your vibrations. Okay, so they identify a problem, you identify a struggle, right? Okay, but then the community comes together to resolve this problem, to come together to make it better, come together in unity to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. Okay, well then you raise your vibrations, because now you got a solution and you coming together. So now you raise your vibrations, but to continue to focus on the struggle and nobody's trying to do anything about it, but they just want to keep talking about it, that's just going to keep you low. That's going to keep you dense, right? That's going to keep you in a very low, angry place. But that's what I want to talk about. It's not much I want to talk about. It's time for me to get up and go on. But I just wanted to briefly talk about that, about how, just being around people that's full of their ego. This is not a great time to be around folks like that if you're actively trying to work on yourself and improving yourself, okay? This is not a good time to be around folks who are deep in their ego and can never admit they're wrong or whatever else it is that they do. But I see a lot, just people just in general, no matter what color or ethnic background they are, they never want to admit to their mistakes. If you call out their mistakes, they never want to admit to it. They have to kind of come back and one up you and stuff like that. And it's just not a good time to be around folks that keep wanting to act like that. Okay, this is not a good time. Okay, I was hearing this. So somebody is talking about celebrities. How celebrities don't speak out on a lot of stuff that happens in the world. They never speak out on it. But you know what? Why don't the people speak out on it, though? Why don't the people speak out on stuff that's happening in the world? Whether it's something going on with children, whether it's something going on with women, or whatever is something happening, why don't people speak out on it? Because people don't speak out. Black Lives Matter is not speaking out because this is something that was funded by George Soros, okay? And a bunch of criminals, a scam artists come up with that doggone movement to take money out of people to help fund all of the chaos that George Soros really want to create, right? He's like he's basically the king of chaos, right? I mean, literally, he was channeled and he's the king of that type of world. Okay, so this not just me saying that. But he's a king in what he does, and he's literally a king. In the ethers, he's a king, right? In what he does. And, so basically, that's not people coming together. That's people being tricked and bamboozled into something they think is real. Same thing with Jim Jones. People felt like, oh, well, you come together with the Jim Jones, you know, the whole thing that happened in Guyana or whatever. No, they're not coming together. They tricked, they bamboozled. That's not coming together. They let somebody who's charismatic say something and they all feel like they're doing something great when they really have been bamboozled. Right? When somebody has to stand up and say something and then they have to have a certain personality, they have to be charismatic. If it takes that kind of person to get people to come together, then it's not real for me. It's not real because people in general should have the mentality of unity consciousness. And if it takes somebody who's a smooth talker, okay, who's charismatic or a celebrity to pull people together, then it's not real. It's not real. Okay, but just in general, the people should do something about it. When people hear stuff about something happening to children or whatever's going on, the people should have a problem with that. Don't wait for a celebrity to say nothing because we already know what celebrities are about. We know what celebrities are about. Okay, so I don't expect nothing from them. They are a part of an organization where they are part of a controlled opposition. That's the word. That's the words that's used. They are part of a controlled opposition. So you don't expect any celebrity that made some level of status within their celebrity. They can't be expected to do anything about what's happening in the world because they are part of that engine. They are a part of it. They sign blood contracts, agreeing to stuff to not interfere with that kind of stuff that's going on right there. So it's up to the people if they want to do something about it. And why aren't people, it's enough people in the world, if they had unity consciousness, it's enough people in the world that could have done something about those kind of things happening. Okay? But anyway, that's it, and I'll talk later.